So here we're coming up to a spot where the road has a turn lane, and the car is going to want to turn into the turn lane, and then it's going to decide that, hey, I don't need to be in this turn lane, and it's going to put a blinker back on and go back over. And again, the car behind us definitely thinks we're drunk. I have no idea what we're doing. I've had my car for about a year and a half now, and I've put 25,000 miles on it. So this video, I'm going to talk about what I like and what I don't like. Let's go. I only owned the car for a couple of days, and I did get a door ding, and then later on I got a door ding on the other side as well to match. And one thing to note with Teslas, particularly the Model Y, you do get a lot of rocks that get kicked up, and so I've got a lot of little marks there by the fender, and then I've noticed some marks on the hood as well. So the paint quality, or the paint thickness, I would say overall, is probably a little less than other cars that I'm used to. So I'm a real estate agent, and one of the things I like the most about the Teslas is the giant navigation screen. So for example here, navigate to Supercharger. There we go. We can pull up, we'll look for one of the fast chargers here, and we can just go ahead and put that right in. And we've got the giant navigation screen, and so really convenient to have it nice and big like that. And so when I'm out showing properties, what I'll do is I can either have it sync to my calendar if I've got all of the locations saved. Otherwise, I can just use my voice or type it in, and I can actually do waypoints. And so as I'm going from house to house, it'll just automatically be pulled up. Before that, I was either using my phone as navigation and trying to prop it up. Otherwise, using other in-car navigation systems, which are much more cumbersome to add different things to. One of the new features that Tesla has added is the turn signal camera. And so we're at a turn here, and we're going to pull into this intersection, and it actually shows me what's to the left of me. And so you're going to real quickly glance at that, in addition to using your mirrors, of course, because mirrors are going to be the safest thing to do. But it's great for seeing blind spots. I would like to have just a nice indicator light on the mirror. My previous vehicle, and I feel like most vehicles, have some sort of just light that shows, like, if you're glancing at your mirror, it'll turn on when there's someone in your blind spot. But for some reason, Teslas don't have that. And in the event of an accident, or anytime you need to save a recording, you can actually do that. And so on mine, I've got it hooked up to this little drive. On the new Model Ys, this is going to be in your glove compartment, and they're actually shipping them with a USB stick that works. But all the dash cam footage is saved there, as well as all the Sentry footage. So when I walk away from the car, when it's parked in a parking lot, there are actually cameras all around it that are recording. And so if someone gets close, it'll actually flash lights at them and then kind of warn them. But it's recording, and when I get back in the car, it'll show me how many events there were. And if there's someone actually tries to get in the car, it sets off the alarm, then I do get a notification on my app as well as that recording. One of the great things about owning a Tesla is that the key system is totally different. So you can actually set it up to use your phone as a key. So both my wife and I have our phones saved as keys, and so I just walk up to the car. It knows that I'm there, it unlocks, lets me in. When the car is put in drive, it does lock again. And then I have it set up so that when I walk away from the car, as soon as that connection is broken, the car does lock again. You get 2 key cards with the car as well, so they're like credit cards. And then I carry mine around as backup just in case like my phone died or something. But you can use those on the door to open it. You just kind of hold it up on the side of the frame, and then to start the car, you hold it down by like the drink holders here. I never use the key cards, but what's nice is you can actually program the key card for multiple vehicles. So instead of having multiple sets of keys, you can use one key card or one app on your phone and use that to access multiple vehicles. So one of the features of the Tesla is that you can do Autopilot, which is actually included with all of the cars. And so I can double click down here on the stock, and now the car is actually going to stay within the lanes. Since I do have the full self-drive beta on this car, it is actually capable of navigating and making turns for us as well. So you're supposed to keep your hands on the wheel as you go around corners, but you can see that the car is turning, keeping us within the lines. And we're coming up to a stoplight here, and without having to do anything, the car is going to come to a stop. And so right now we're in full self-drive. The car is doing everything from acceleration to staying in between the lines. It will prompt me to keep my hands on the wheel, so I have to apply a little force every now and then, but I can take my hands off, and we're coming up to a curve here, and it's going to go ahead and turn for us. So sometimes I like to just be in control of the car, and it's a really fun car to drive as well. But other times it's great to have the autopilot and the full self-drive features for like road trips. So I really like autopilot and full self-drive for on the freeway. I feel like it's very confident here. You can do lane changes when it needs to. You can make sure that you're in the right lane when you get to one of those weird intersections or one of those spots where the road splits and navigation says stay left, but it doesn't say which lane to be in. Having this nice navigation system is very clear on the screen what lane to be in, but also if you're using the full self-drive, it'll actually just put you in that spot. So that's pretty nice. But for long road trips or just daily commutes on the freeway, the autopilot is a great feature. I don't think you necessarily even need the full self-drive. Like just autopilot is plenty. All right, so here we're coming up to a spot where the road has a turn lane, and the car is going to want to turn into the turn lane, and then it's going to decide that, hey, I don't need to be in this turn lane, and it's going to put a blinker back on and go back over. And again, the car behind us definitely thinks we're drunk. I have no idea what we're doing. It used to be when there was these big shadows like this, or there was like a truck that would be coming towards us in this other lane, that I would just start braking really hard, like trying to avoid a collision when there was no threat of a collision at all. So that part has gotten better, but anytime we get to something like this where we're kind of coming up to a horizon, like we're going over an elevation, and we get a turn lane on either side, it wants to just go into one of those turn lanes. And so when I purchased full self-drive, I paid $8,000. Shortly after that price went up to $10,000, and at the time of recording this, full self-drive costs $12,000. They do have a subscription option available as well. I think it's like a couple hundred a month. So if you're ever curious about trying it out, I would recommend going that subscription route instead of paying for the software outright. In my opinion, it's not worth it yet. They've got a ways to go before it will be worth it. In theory, having your car drive itself is awesome, but the reality is that you have to babysit it. You have to pay more attention than you would if you were just driving the car. I don't think it's worth it. I would just save your money. Another really cool feature with Tesla is that you can do what's called one-pedal driving. And so I've got regenerative braking, and as the car is slowing down, it's actually putting power back into the battery. And so if you're used to it, you can actually drive with just one pedal and not ever have to touch the brake, unless there's an emergency, in which case still have that available. But most of the time when I drive, I'm just using one foot. The big thing with electric vehicles in general is that in the winter, since it's cold out, you do lose quite a bit of range. When it gets to be below zero, I've noticed the range can drop in half. So all vehicles are doing that. You just notice it more with a battery-operated vehicle. And so that's one big negative. So with 300-mile range on this car, haven't really run into an issue, even in the winter. I just keep it charged up. A lot of people think that electric vehicles, and Teslas in particular, are really expensive. While the cost is a little bit higher, I think I paid about $65,000 for this vehicle, I'm actually saving money. So the car I had before, I was spending about $250 a month in gas, and now to charge this vehicle is about $25. And so within the app, it actually can show you your gas savings every month. And so it's just a rolling 30 days. and it looks at how many miles you've driven, your cost of charging at home versus supercharging, and it has a nice graph and everything, so I can tell how much I'm saving. But on a typical month, I save about $200 to $250 of what I would be paying in gas, and that was based on previous pricing. Obviously now with gas prices on the rise, that savings is going to be even more. One of the big misconceptions that people tell me about electric vehicles is that, oh, you must sit at chargers for just hours. But in reality, I charge overnight, and so every day I leave with 300 miles of range or more. And so the only time I ever have to worry about charging is when I'm on a road trip. And then the car just navigates me to the supercharger. And again, we're just there for 20 to 40 minutes. So it's not really a big deal. With a gas vehicle, you fill up when it gets low, and that might not be a very convenient time for you. It might be the dead of winter, and you're freezing out there, filling your tank up, and the prices vary drastically. With the electric vehicle, you just charge your car and go. So that's really nice. When I got the car, of course, you get the mobile charger included, and so this is going to have your standard outlet. It takes like 2 days to charge the car with this. So I did purchase all of the adapters. I got the entire kit. So the idea being that, you could use like a 14-15 outlet or like RV if you're out camping. A year and a half later, haven't used a single one. So don't know if that was completely necessary, but I have them. All right, so every day when I come home at night, all I do is I take this and just plug it in. So I've got the wall connector here. This actually is routed up and then back down to our panel, which is in our basement. Since our panel is in our basement is finished. It did cost $2,600 to run the line out here to the garage, so a little bit more expensive. If I was going to build a house again, I would make sure to put power out in the garage. If your panel is already out here, it's going to be a lot cheaper for you, but certainly well worth it. We do most of our charging at home, but if we needed to, we could get some free power just right over here. One nice perk is that they're typically located right at the front here, so we got Rockstar parking. So at any of the charge point locations, what we do is just walk up. It's going to use NFC, and that's going to release the charging handle here for us. So some of the locations would have a fee. This particular one is free. It is only 6.6 kilowatt hours, so it's not going to charge the car very quickly, but it is free, so no complaints there. And we just plug in and go do your grocery shopping, come back, and got free power. One thing to note when doing a road trip is that you can actually just put in the destination and it's automatically going to tell you which superchargers to stop at. And so if it knows it's going to a supercharger, it'll start preconditioning the battery, and that's going to allow it to charge much faster. There are a number of different apps you can use to plan your trips out, but even just using the onboard system is great. If you're in a area where there's a lot of wind, or if you're driving faster than the speed limit, I do recommend adding a little bit of a buffer, but overall the car's recommendation is pretty accurate. I found that a lot of the superchargers are going to be at locations like grocery stores and Targets and stuff like that, and so it's nice to be able to just get out of the car, use the restroom, maybe get some food, and by the time you've done all that, usually the car is ready to go. And so I've done quite a few road trips with this car, and I haven't really found it to be very inconvenient. The only thing is you do need to make those extra stops, and for some people that might be a little bit annoying, but at the same time, for like how frequently are you really going on road trips? And honestly, for me, it helps me enjoy the road trip more, forcing me to stop. I don't mind that at all. So some people are concerned about things like panel gaps and stuff like that. I never really thought it was an issue. They're everyday drivers. So the only thing I really have done to this car is I did tint the back windows, which I think looks nice. And then since we're here in Minnesota, I've got a set of winter tires and then I just got some rims to go with them. Other than that, I mean, I put some windshield wiper fluid in it once, and that's been it for maintenance. But I'll open her up and show you all the cool stuff. So the handles are tricky. A lot of people get messed up by this, but you put your thumb through the big spot and then you pull on the skinny side. So if you ever have friends that ride with you, they always get tripped up. And then with the black car, of course, the black on black is very difficult to see at night. So I think if I would have picked a different color, that probably would have been good. In the back here, we've got a lot of storage room. These do go down. So that can go down independently. Otherwise, like so. A lot of space here. Goes nice and flat. There are people that have slept in these, of course. And then there's extra space underneath here. So a lot of room for storage. And then we've got like the hidden spot too here. Right there is a little bit of extra storage. So put those back, and then little spots here on either side. Since there's no engine with electric vehicle, we have what's called a frunk. And so we got this cool little storage space where you could put like snacks and things. I like that it's separate from the back. So if it's something in the winter I want to keep a little bit colder, I can put it in there. Great spots for snacks. Otherwise, camping gear, whatever, just more space. So the Y has a lot of room to hold things. And it's a great car. So I guess, after 25,000 miles, the question is, would I buy another Model Y? Well, guys, we did. So here is my wife's Model Y. She went with white, which is the included color. We didn't do the full self-drive. The only thing she got was the upgraded rims, the black rims, to match. Those are the rims that were on my car. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, be sure to subscribe, as we've got more great content coming.